Good evening, Inner Peace. It is going well. I hope you had a great weekend. Ooh, we're up to two people. Catalisa. Good evening, Catalisa. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Four. We're up to four people. Yay! Crafted evidence. Hey, this is Jennifer. Can you repeat your email address again? I lost it the last time. I'm typing it in the comment section. Yes. Okay. I'm live streaming. It's hanging up on the key rack. Sorry. Knock, knock, knock. Yeah, that was my wife. I borrowed my sister's Mercedes Benz yesterday, and she came to collect it. And like a smart person, I always put the keys on the key rack. Why do I have a key rack? Because I like to put keys where they belong. Good evening, Kitty Q, Lita. Hello to you both. I hope you both had a great weekend. Tonight, we are answering 20 questions about Ariel Castro. Ariel Castro is tonight's content. I don't know if you had any chance to, study on him or know anything about Ariel Castro, but if not, it'll be a learning experience for all of us. You're in the Eastern time zone. I am Pacific Standard Time, PST. I'm on the West Coast of the United States. But it doesn't matter. There's quite a few people that I've collaborated with over the years, that are on the people who are in Australia, New Zealand, UK, Wales, and Belarus. Yes, I actually have one video with the well, he used to be. I don't know what happened to him. He kind of just vanished off the face of the earth. But he used to be a traveling doctor, and he was in Belarus. That was probably about 5 years ago. But Miss Murder Australia did collaboration with her. Tennell, he's in New Zealand, but he also is. I want to say he's on the Gold Coast too. He travels a lot. He's a retiree. I would love to do Scott Peterson with you or Watts. Well, like I said, send me an email and we'll talk about it. Sub to Crafted Evidence. Thank you for putting that up there, Inner Peace. I appreciate that. It's really nice of you to do that. Yeah, that's all, folks. Porky Pig class tonight. Lipton tea is what I'm drinking tonight, in case you're wondering. All right. Let's get tonight's trivia going, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 354th episode of True Crime Trivia. Tonight's trivia was suggested by Cement Shoes, MPA32, Karen C, and Silvertop. MPA, Karen C, and Silvertop are all from the Facebook group. Cement Shoes, as we all know, is from here with us on YouTube. Warning. This trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI and the Department of Justice. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculation, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and topic may not be the right fit for you. Neither I nor my advertiser or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. On every one of the platforms that I am streaming to right now, it is age restricted, and I make sure every night in every stream is controlled in that environment. If they're accessing it, it's not my fault. Additionally, we are not liable for the comments or live chat messages, as they do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions. This is not for YouTube. My moderators here will control that. It's the other ones that I cannot control, where people feel it's the right thing to do to say whatever they want. They think it's their First Amendment right to violate the terms of agreement on other venues without actually reading the terms of services. I can't stop them. We just ban them instead. This program documents the actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. According to Ranker.com, Ariel Castro is ranked as the 139th on the list of scariest monsters in American history. These are people who are criminals, everything from serial killers, spree killers, psychopaths, and anyone who has been convicted of a serious violent criminal. Ariel Castro is ranked 139 on that list of 200. First question is now on your screen. In what city, state did Ariel Castro commit his crimes? Was it A, Boston, Mass, B, Miami, Florida, C, Seattle, Washington, or D, Cleveland, Ohio? I worked for CBS Fox Weather Channel here in Atlanta. So when I read you were a stringer, I wanted to collaborate. Love people who are just, oh boy, I flew by. Sorry. And good evening, Sal. I'll scroll back up here. JDR, good evening as well. Love people who are just desensitized as I am. Well, I don't know about desensitized, but but very little gets to me at this point in my career. I look at everything like a detective crafted evidence. You go into it with a negative, a blank slate, and you try to let the evidence lead you where you need, it needs to be. If the evidence says that it points to this person, you follow the evidence. Scatty Nona, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 1. The correct answer is D as in dog. Cleveland, Ohio is where Ariel Castro committed his crimes. Miss K, good evening. Sprinkle Donut, same to you. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 2. How many women did Ariel Castro kidnap, hard R torture while he held them captive? Was it A, 8, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 7? JDR says, loves the inner piece's name. Should have one that full of beans. That's funny. Full of beans. That'd be a good name. I met somebody the other day who has a screen name full of Pucky. Ryan Hawkins, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Ryan. Hope you had a great weekend. Question number 2. The correct answer is C, as in cat. 3. 3 women. Question number 3. Which year were the victims of Ariel Castro held captive? Was it A, 1999, B, 2024, C, 2013, or D, 2010? We are looking for the year that, one of the years that they're held captive. There may be more than one correct answer for this question because they were held over multiple years. Good evening, The Finn. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Question number 3. Which year were the victims of Ariel Castro held captive and rescued? We are looking for, there is a possible more than one correct answer to this question, and I'm only saying that because of how I phrased the question, but the rescued is only one answer for rescued. Question number 3. The correct answer to question number 3 is C or D. If you guessed C or D, you are correct. 2013 is when the 3 women were rescued from the home in 2013. The one victim in the case made a statement to law enforcement that she believed that there was a woman who was there being held captive before her. And that would have been in 2010. But that was never proven in a court of law that there was another woman captive who got away or was not there in 2010. But in 2013, the 3 women who were being held captive were all released. So again, if you answered C or D, you are correct. Now, we are only going based on the one victim's statement. She's the only one who said that there was somebody else there. And if you look at if you ever see the crime scene photos of the actual home itself, this stuff what he had set up in this house was not done overnight. It had been done over a period of time to, the restraints and everything else and the rooms and how they were set up. He didn't just kidnap one woman and then set it all up and then kidnap another one and another one. And when the first one came in, she said that she heard that, or she made a statement that there was someone who's there before her. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. Did you know? If it wasn't for the bravery of Michelle Knight, one of the victims held captive by Ariel Castro, the likelihood is all the victims would be dead by now. She escaped and alerted authorities to the crimes and other victims. Michelle Knight, if it wasn't for her bravery. Question number 4. What is the name since changed of the child born to one of the held victims of Ariel Castro? Yes, Ariel Castro is the father. Was it A, Michelle, B, Matthew, C, Janelle, or D, Jocelyn? What is the name since changed of the child born to one of the held victims and Ariel Castro? Good evening, Cement Shoes. We are doing your suggested trivia on Ariel Castro. Question number 4 of 20. The first 10 questions all have the same photo, though, ladies and gentlemen. This is from the Cleveland Police Department, one of his booking photos. What a lovely individual he is. Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. What is the name since changed of the child who was born to one of the held victims in Ariel Castro? The correct answer is D, as in dog. Jocelyn or Jocelyn. Question number 5. Which victim from the list below was the mother of the child born while being held captive in Ariel Castro's home of horrors? Was it A, Amanda Berry, B, Emil Hernandez, C, Cassandra Soto, or D, Evelyn Black? Question number 5. Question number 5 of 20. And you can also hit the thumbs up underneath the video. That also helps, support this channel by just a tiny bit by helping it suggest out to other people who may enjoy this content and this channel. Question number 5 of 20. No, I do not. I do not take Cash App. Got PayPal for the investigation fund for the longer, full-length videos. All that can be found on my channel, and I might go to my main channel, and it's there underneath the only 3 links: Patreon, PayPal, and the channel membership. All right, question number 5. The correct answer is A, as in apple. Amanda Berry. Question number 6. Over how many years were the women held captive in Ariel Castro's home of horrors? Was it A, 15, B, 10, C, 20, or D, 5? Question number 6 of 20. Lipton tea. That cool, refreshing drink. JDR, Lita, Kitty Coo, and some shoes are all going with B, and Speckle Donut and Sal are going with B as well. Good evening, Joe Tall Chief. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Joe Tall Chief. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm glad you could be here tonight with us for trivia on Ariel Castro. Question number 6. The correct answer is B as in boy. 10 years. 10 years. Did you know, after the release of the victims, law enforcement took a long, hard look at Ariel Castro for other crimes. They could not rule him out in the disappearance of 12 other women, yet he was never charged with them. 12 other women had disappeared in and around the same period of time in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Of those 12 that they could not, exclude him from being the perpetrator of, all of them disappeared within a 1-mile area around where he lived. 12. But he was never charged with any of them. Question number 7 of 20. What profession did Ariel Castro have the entire time he held these women captive? Was it A, an elementary school bus driver, B, a city transit bus driver, C, a taxi cab driver, or D, an exotic male dancer? What did Ariel Castro do for money? Question number 7 of 20. Oh yeah. Well, we'll get into some of the things that he did, Cement Shoes, torture wise, and things that he did to control these women while they were in his home. Ivory Lady. Good evening, Ivory Lady. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I truly hope you had a great weekend. I'm glad you could be here with us. Question number 7 of 20. The correct answer is A as in apple, a school bus driver. Yes, this man worked for the school system, picking up children and taking them to school every day. That is how he paid his bills, was a school bus driver. Alrighty, question number 8. The next door neighbor had a lot of interaction with Ariel Castro. After his arrest, how did the neighbor describe Ariel to the media? Was it A, strange but quiet, B, an odd little man, C, quiet but seemingly normal, or D, a party animal? Question number 8 of 20. The next door neighbor had a lot of interaction with Ariel Castro. After his arrest, how did the neighbor describe Ariel to the media? Ooh, we got lots of C's. Kitty Coop, B, question mark? I don't know. Could be B. Maybe it's B. I don't know. Question number 8 of 20. Question number 8. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Quiet, but seemingly normal. Quiet, but seemingly normal is how the neighbor described Ariel Castro to the media. Quiet, but seemingly normal. You never know who your neighbors are, do you? This one's keeping 3 women captive in his house, making one of them dig graves in the yard. And the other ones are being tortured, and being abused inside the house. But hey, he's quiet. He seems seemingly normal. I wonder what the neighbors of Dennis Rader had to say about him. I know the neighbors of Jeffrey Dahmer found him to be an odd man who kept to himself, but when he was outgoing, he was bringing them food. I wonder what was in that food. All right, question number 9. What was Ariel Castro's plea in court, and how many charges did he plead to? Was it A, innocent mental defect to 1,845 counts? B, innocent insane, 977 counts? C, guilty, no conditions, 977 counts? Or D, guilty, Barry Morphew defense, 30 counts? Question number 9 of 20. What was Ariel Castro's plea in court, and how many charges did he plead to? Did you, cement shoes? That would have been an interesting conversation to have with one of the neighbors, the former neighbors of Ariel Castro. I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that one. I mean, living that right next door to somebody like this, the insight that they could give you. Good evening, Regina, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight, Regina. Question number 9. The answer to question number 9 is C, as in cat. He pled guilty with no conditions. There were 977 counts total against him. C, as in cat. Question number 10. After being sentenced to 1,000 years in prison without any possibility of parole, how many times did Ariel Castro speak with law enforcement? Was it A, 3, B, 11, C, 2 times, or D, 15 times? Question number 10 of 20. After being sentenced to 1,000 years in prison without any possibility of parole, that must have sucked, Ariel. How many times did Ariel Castro speak with law enforcement? Smith Shoes, he made quite a few admissions in court that weren't official pleas. He also said that he was not a monster in court, sex addict, not a monster, He said that, he made other admissions that, but they weren't formal pleas or entries to the question at hand on how do you plead to this charge. He also, at one point, shortly, to one of his attorneys, tried to ask if he could plead that he suffered from a concussion. Not that that was going to help him on the crimes that he was facing of the 977 counts. Question number 10. The correct answer is C, as in cat, 2 times. It happened over an entire weekend. They came in and talked to him on a Friday and on a Saturday, back-to-back days. The only time that Castro would sit down and speak with law enforcement. They were trying to see if he would confess or talk about any other crimes that he may have committed before, the abduction of these women, during anything. They had a whole bunch of cases that were cold cases that he could have been involved in. Again, there were 12 at the end of it all that they could not, exclude him from being a possible, suspect in, but he was never charged with them. That is the first 10 questions. As we normally do, after 10 questions, we take a break. Now, during the break time, if you want to stick around, I'm going to cover, a case or two of someone who is missing and endangered here in America. These are open, active cases, and I am working with several different groups and organizations to bring and shed light to these cases. For the entire month of April, I have been working just with the Doe Network for cases that they are actively working on and helping, trying to help families bring closure to. But you do you for the next 5 minutes. Shotgun some beers, smoke a bowl, drink a fifth of whiskey. You do whatever the heck you need to do for the next 5 minutes. With that in mind, I am working with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to help, who work tirelessly to locate missing children and prevent child exploitation. The Charlie Project, an invaluable database documenting missing persons cases, along with the FBI, local law enforcement, Name Us, and the Doe Network. Again, the entire month of April has all been with the Doe Network. This is the final one on just the Doe Network. Next Sunday, I will be back to do more cases from all 4 different databases: FBI, Charlie Project, Name Us, Doe Network is the 4 that I'm mainly working with. If I am shared with ones from local law enforcement on missing children, I will consider them, but most of those are not cold cases. I am focusing more on cold cases to help bring closure. With that said, tonight, the first one is Sammy Dabney. He is 56 years of age today, and as of 2024. He was last seen on June 14th, 2022. He vanished from the Prince Edward, Virginia area. Prince Edward is a county, not an actual city, but in Virginia. He is 5'7", 175 to 185 pounds. Eye color is brown. Hair is gray and black, as in we're all getting older, and his hair is graying. No scars or tattoos known on Sammy Dabney. Dabney was last seen in Prince Edward County, Virginia on June 14, 2022. He left home on foot and never returned, and has never been heard from again. He was believed to have been staying with relatives out of the area. outside of Prince Edward County. But authorities and family are unable to confirm this. He may have been spotted shortly afterwards in Alabama or the northern Florida area. It should be noted that Dabney has had a history of being homeless and living in and out of shelters in areas where he is not necessarily dependent upon services, where he would have to give up his name. He very well could be alive today and just in being in the same situation that he was before. The photo that you see here that is different from the first one is the most recent photo of him that was taken by a family member about a month before he actually vanished. If you know anything about where Dabney might be, Samuel or Sammy Dabney, you can call 434-392-8101. You can remain anonymous by leaving a tip at this actual number. But the family is still looking for him, and no one knows where he is. That is the last of the Doe Network cases that I was asked to profile in the month of April. You can take a moment now and thank them in the comment section. If you want to learn more about the Doe Network, this is a clickable link that is at the bottom there to the doenetwork.org, where you can research other cases or look into cases that may be in your geographic location. Or if you just want to pick a city, it's the same thing with the Charlie Project, the largest database of missing and endangered individuals. You can search by alphabetical order, timeline, year, month, geographic location, East Coast, West Coast, what state, what city. Both of the networks have a very searchable database. But I want to thank the Doe Network again for myself for allowing me to spotlight these cases in the month of April. Again, next Sunday, we will be back with cases from all of the networks, not just the Doe Network. This concludes the 30 days of highlights, like I just said, of the Doe Network cases that they are working on. This was not a paid promotion, and this was not a paid for push to highlight their work. Right now, you still have 3 minutes and 2 seconds left of your break time. The break doesn't actually officially start until I start reading the first one, because I know people don't want to. My break time was you talking about me shotgunning beers or drinking a fifth of whiskey. No, it doesn't start until I start talking about the actual case. So you have 3 minutes. Well, less than 3 minutes now, because I'm gabbing away. Little Monkey, Michael Vaughn, and Summer Wells definitely come to mind. Yes. Michael Vaughn is a case that I have been following, tirelessly, for a long time now, unfortunately. I don't know if we'll ever, come up with a solution to what happened to Summer Wells. I hope that she is alive and well out there, but until we really dig into the case and someone, probably won't ever be solved unless somebody, starts talking. Because I know Don and Candace have been, raked over the coals, both, by law enforcement and by the media. And nothing that they have said has led to any substantial information on what may have happened to Summer. But it should be noted at the same time, even with the amount of time that Summer Wells has been missing, children who have been missing even longer have been found alive and well later on. So don't give up hope. Hope is a very powerful weapon and in motion. So don't give up hope that she is safe out there somewhere. Sprinkled Donut, I have less hope, unfortunately, for Michael Vaughn, Monkey, aka Monkey. Unfortunately, the people that were in and out of that area where Michael Vaughn disappeared from, it's not looking good. That's just my hunch on the case, but I can't prove that. Kids don't just vanish. Well, every year, Sprinkled Donut, 1 million children in the United States are reported missing. Better than 90% are found within 30 days. They're either taken by a non-custodial parent or someone else that the child knows. The stranger danger that we were all probably taught growing up is such a small fraction of what happens in disappearances of children. Most children are taken by either a non-custodial parent or someone that the child knows. But again, better than 90% are solved within the a 30-day period. Some are only like a couple of days, but there's still a report generated for them. Sadly, if you have a box full of tissues and you really want to use them, you can go to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There are a lot of cases there of children who have disappeared. Look at how many years it took to solve the case of the boy in the box. All those years, nobody even had an identity for him. That was the case where the child was just found dead, deceased, in a cardboard box, tossed on the side of the road like he was garbage. As a parent, I can't imagine living that nightmare. Look at the little Madeline McCain. Yeah. Dylan Dorman. You've got 30 seconds approximately, and they're left of your break. And we are back. Oh, quickly, and little notice in case you guys are seeing this. YouTube, with their super knowledge that they have of what you, the viewer, wants to see and enjoy, have now blocked 11 different companies that did ad blockers. For all you out there who think, hey, I have an ad blocker, I can block ads on YouTube now. Guess again. And the two of the bigger ones that are out there are currently being sued by YouTube, and well, they're going to be stopped pretty soon too. And that is Honey and, well, because Honey and PayPal, same company. PayPal owns Honey. And Capital One ad blocker, is going to be blocked as well. They're both being sued by YouTube. But anyways, additionally, those who have Premiere, you might be seeing it right now. An ad at the top of the actual comment section. An ad there. If you see an ad right there and you are paying for Premiere, a premium, YouTube Premium, and you think, oh, I don't see ads. Well, guess again. You may be seeing them and you don't even recognize that they're there right now. And you're being pushed at. 100% of that revenue goes directly to YouTube for these ads that are at the top of the comment section on live streams. I can't control that, nor can any other creator. These ads are just popping up because YouTube and their infinite wisdom have changed, how ads are showing up again. There are also mid-roll ads, but at least, as the creator, I have opted out of automatic mid-roll placements on live streams and on videos. With that said, and without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11. Crimes he may have committed. Ariel Castro's DNA was connected to how many other crimes yet never charged with them? Was it A, 28, B, 2, C, 38, D, 3? How many other crimes were Ariel Castro's DNA connected to? YouTube and their greediness, says Kitty Coo. Yeah, well, I try not to slam YouTube too much, but they've been doing things like this where the ad is at the top of the comment section. And if you're paying for premium service, and you think you shouldn't get ads at all, they also run unskippable ads where they keep the money and the creator doesn't get money for it. They do ad placement on products, or they, on a more of a psychological level. YouTube has settled several different lawsuits over the years where they have paid creators for product placement in the actual videos in the background. How many times have you watched a Mr. Beast or a video by Cutie Pie and you've seen a can of Pepsi in someone's hand, but there's no commercial or skippable ad for a Pepsi? Where did that can of Pepsi come from? And why is it being there as, as an unpaid, advertisement? Think about it. We'll pay you more to put these items in the background of your video. Okay, question number 11. The correct answer is B as in boy. There were two crime scenes where his DNA was directly connected to. One was a theft, and the other one was a attempted burglary. But his DNA was allegedly, because they never actually charged him with it. So that is in the actual police file itself, that his DNA was connected with two other crimes. Question number 12. What part of the discovery and escape did the neighbor who described Ariel Castro as quiet and seemingly normal play in the escape of Michelle Knight? Was it A, he broke out his home's windows? B, he helped break down the door? C, he called 411 for information? Or D, he called Ariel at work? What part in the discovery and escape did the neighbor who described Ariel Castro as quiet and seemingly normal play in the escape of Michelle Knight? I actually got a ride home from a bar with the cousin and he come back here, comment, was crazy and misogynistic, who called the victims liars. If he hadn't been a single digit temps outside, I would have gotten out of the car. Ooh, boy. Cement shoes. You got to be careful who you take rides from. You never know. I met a guy once, and we went to to a concert, and it was supposed to be a concert, but I got a creepy vibe from this individual, and I'm to this day, if he's not a serial killer, he was definitely up to something a whole lot worse. What can be worse than a serial killer? I don't know. But he definitely, to me, felt like he was out on the hunt. Don't play. Don't play. Okay. I mistakenly clicked on a video there and it was about to play. Luckily I had that tense and that tense second there where, it was buffering. Well, to answer your question, KDQ, and somebody else had also said this earlier about was it Amanda or Michelle? I just Googled it again to make sure that, and then I went to the website that I got the information, the trivia question from. But it says on this one, it says Barry, that'd be Amanda Barry, made her daring and courageous escape on May 6, 2013. And Michelle Knight had tried to escape at the same time. So I think it was both of them on the same day or at the same event, because this is on missingkids.com is where this trivia question, the questions about Michelle Knight come from. Missingkids.com or missingkids.org. They have both. But it definitely says it was May 6, 2013. The other victim in the home helped free Gina DeJesus and Jocelyn, the 6-year-old child. Gina DeJesus was actually restrained in the home at the time. And in this article on missingkids.com and missingkids.org, it says that this is the 10-year after anniversary of the escape. All right, I'm scrolling down for the references here on this. References for this, it lists 3 reporters, and then it lists WGN Chicago, along with the TNC, whatever that is. I don't know who they are. The T and then @C. And then National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And then it shows a picture of the house boarded up and the pictures of them at the 10-year anniversary. So with that being said, maybe it's wrong, but it does refer to them both as escaping on that date. And I just went with the one. Police went in and got Michelle and Gina, says Sal. Michelle posed her head out of the upstairs room when police were coming up the stairs. Well, they answered the question number 12, and then we'll just have to assume that it was both of them. I mean, I'll admit that I'm probably wrong. It was probably, Amanda Barry, because it does list Amanda Barry first in the article and then Michelle Knight at secondary as trying to escape that day. So maybe it was one who got out and the other one ran upstairs to try to free the other. I don't know. But the correct answer to what did the neighbor do is he helped break down the door, B as in boy, to this question. But I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong, man. I'm most likely wrong on that. So I will admit that I'm wrong. Question number 13. School bus driver tortured by night. Even a psychopath has to have a hobby or two. Which one below was Ariel Castro's hobby on the weekends? Was it A, building ships in bottles, B, playing chess in a chess league, C, playing guitar in local bands, Or D, building birdhouses and donate them. School bus driver by day, torturer by night. Even a psychopath has to have a hobby or two. Which one from below was Ariel Castro's hobby on the weekends? Oh, don't get me started on that fake Sylvia Brown. What was that guy's name? John Edwards. They both were pulling the same scam, where they would pull people or ask them their names as they came in to the audience, and then they would Google them, or they would search their names for information online, and then they would call out, I feel Henry. Is anybody missing a Henry? It's one of the oldest parlor tricks that's been around. Even Harry Houdini tried to discredit the people who were doing these things back when he was alive. It's one of the oldest parlor tricks around. You gather people underneath a big top tent back then when Houdini was around, and these psychics would do these things. They would say, I feel that there's money hidden in your home. It's in a book. Question number 13. The correct answer is C as in cat. Ariel Castro played the bass guitar in several bands in and around the Cleveland, Ohio area. That is what he did as his hobby while he had 3 women restrained in his home. Did you know? In a very limited interaction law enforcement had with Ariel Castro after his conviction, all of those happened in a week prior to his death. These interactions are more than likely why he would stop them all and end it all. Question number 14. After his arrest and conviction on the 977 charges counts, what happened to Ariel Castro's home? Was it A, turned into a crime museum, B, turned into a homeless shelter, C, turned into an Airbnb, or D, demolished? Good evening, lemon pie. Joe Tall Chief, you have a bunch of Beanie Babies? Joe Tall Chief, I probably have some Beanie Babies in a tub down in my basement. We keep everything in our basement in plastic tubs that have airtight, like snap-on lids. They're not like ones you can buy at like your Target or Walmart or anywhere else. These tubs are made for storing books in, where there may be issues with humidity. But I have a couple of bins down there that most likely do have some Beanie Babies. I never got heavily into Beanie Babies, but I definitely had some. It's with the tags, and then put little protectors on the tags themselves. Looks like we all agreed that the home was demolished. Discotheque. I have a Donald Duck disco album. I don't know if it's out here. It might be in the house with my record collection in the house. Sad to say, but if the crime scene homes turned into an Airbnb, they would make a lot of money. Question number 14 of 20. The correct answer is D as in dog. The home was first boarded up and then demolished. You can find a lot, and I mean a lot, of pictures of the inside of the home that were part of the actual trial itself. And you can see in several areas, in what, two rooms in particular, he had chains and stuff that were bolted into the floor for restraining the women. He had rooms that he had padded, that so if there were screams in it, or whatever noise was in the room, no one outside of it could hear. This was all part of his way of controlling them and restraining them. Question number 15. What state agency was heavily criticized for missing signs of abuse happening inside of Ariel Castro's home that could have ended the torture? Was it A, the EPA, B, the FEMA, C, CPS, Child Protective Services, or D, ICE? Question number 15 of 20. What state agency was heavily criticized for missing signs of abuse happening inside of Ariel Castro's home that could have ended the torture? Lizzie Borden's home. Lizzie Borden, well, that you can actually stay there. I don't think it's the actual house, or is it adjacent to the house, like an extension to the house that they rent out? But I know the Lizzie Borden house is definitely on a tour, and it's there. I saw a thing on the Discovery Channel about it, and it's also oh, I forgot to put myself back in my little window. Darn it. It's also in American Murder Houses. This is written by Steve Leto. He is a YouTuber, but he is also an attorney in the state of Michigan. And he is actually a lemon law attorney, but he does a little bit of everything. And this is just one of the many books that Steve Leto has written. Lizzie Borden's house, the infamous axe murder house, is the second one in it. After the we have Lady Nero tortured her slaves, then the infamous Lizzie Borden house, then Cosmo Mariner's Destination Unknown. But there are quite a few different homes in here. I've never read this actual particular copy. I have two copies of it. This one's was actually signed by Steve Leto for me, and that sits in the background. Someone who stayed there said it's her house, and when you see the inside, you'll know she had to be the killer. Or maybe it's. You can actually go online, and I know you can book a stay at it, and I guess it fills up pretty quick. Lizzie Borden took an axe, but how many whacks? Question number 15. The correct answer is C, as in cat, CPS. Child Protective Services ignored warnings from others that there was a child that may have been being abused and neglected inside of Ariel Castro's home. And it could have ended all of this a lot sooner, because they would have come in and investigated. Hey, why are there women tied up in this room? But yeah. Question number 16. How did Ariel Castro's family react to his arrest and conviction on the 977 charges? Was it A, publicly disowned him? B, said they didn't know him? C, said he deserved death? Or D, publicly said he was innocent? Now, with anything, a question like this, there's always going to be one or two outliers. We're looking for what the majority of the family had to say about Ariel Castro. You know, you can say, how did the family react to it? Well, there's always going to be those like, I think he was innocent. I'm sure there are people in Jeffrey Dahmer's family who believe that he, never killed any of his victims or ate them. I'm sure there are people who believe that Dennis Rader and his family, was nothing but a church-going man and would never, ever stoop himself to the point of being a serial killer. But what did the vast majority of people in Ariel Castro's family say about him? Question number 16 of 20. Lemon Pie said it was really Pauly Shore. That damn Pauly Shore, the weasel. Pauly Shore, the weasel. Question number 16. She gave her mother another 41 whacks. All right, question number 16. The correct answer is A, as in apple. The vast majority of Ariel Castro's family publicly disowned him after he was charged and convicted of all the crimes that he had committed inside of that home. Did you know? In several rooms of Ariel Castro's home, he had chains and ropes that were anchored to the walls and floors. If one of the women got out of control, or lippy, as he put it, they would spend weeks in these rooms. Yes, it was best to follow and do what he wanted you to do. Don't get out of line. Don't you dare get lippy. Question number 17 of 20. That's supposed to be besides. I don't know why that's wrong. Sorry about the spelling there. Besides ropes, chains, mental abuse, physical abuse, hard R, how else did Ariel Castro control his victims? Was it A, food deprivation, B, electrical shock, C, waterboarding, or D, threats to make Lori Vallow sing to them? Question number 17 of 20. Besides ropes, chains, mental abuse, physical abuse, and hard R, how else did Ariel Castro control his victims? Making them watch the Jersey Shore. That's funny, Lemon Pie. Making them watch the Jersey Shore. Jersey Shore Marathon. You will fall in line, or I'll make you watch the Jersey Shore Marathon. And just for good measure, I'll make you watch, the follow-up spin-offs with Snooki. Excuse me. Question 17 of 20. The correct answer to question number 17 of 20 is A, as in apple. He controlled their food and when they got food and how much food they got. Food deprivation was another method that he used to control them. Restraint, physical abuse, mental abuse, hard R, and food deprivation. Question number 18. What was the most used method Ariel Castro used to lure and get his victims that law enforcement was able to prove? Was it A, drugs? It's almost always drugs. B, offer them a ride. C, free candy. Or D, a free copy of a Chad Daybell book. Question number 18 of 20. What was the most used method Ariel Castro used to lure and get his victims? You need A? Joe Talty D. No. A free copy of Chad Daybell book. Ooh, which one will they pick? I bet he had the whole collection. Question number 18 of 20. What was the most used method Ariel Castro used to lure and get his victims? The correct answer is B, as in boy. He offered them a ride. Question number 19 of 20. How long did Ariel Castro last in prison before his death? Was it A, 1 year, B, 10 months, C, still there, just changed his name, or D, 1 month? Question number 19 of 20. How long did Ariel Castro last in prison? Lemon pie. He offered to lower their car insurance. And then he offered them an extended warranty on their car. He would torture them out loud, reading Chad Daybell's book. Don't forget about my extended warranty. How long did Ariel Castro last in prison before his death? Question number 19 of 20. The correct answer to question number 19 is D, as in dog. 1 month. Approximately 1 month. Did you know the ages of the victims when they were kidnapped? Michelle Knight was 21 years of age. Amanda Berry was 16. And Gina DeJesus was 14 years old. Amanda Berry was, I think, the day before she turned 17, but she was 16 years old when he kidnapped her. Amanda Berry was almost 17. And Gina DeJesus, 14. Question number 20 of 20. Even monsters have to die eventually. So how did Ariel Castro die in prison? Was it A, stabbed by another inmate, by other inmate? That should be another. What, B, suicide, C, electric chair, or D, drowned in a hot tub? Even monsters have to die eventually. How did Ariel Castro die in prison? Made them listen to Lori's podcast. I read something a couple weeks back about there is the podcast that Lori did with Oh gosh, I can picture her, but I'm drawing a blank on her name. Her friend. But anyways, that the podcast has been curated. Stabbed by an other inmate. It should be another. He fell into a toilet and drowned, says Lemon Pie. Melanie Gibbs, thank you. Joe Tall Chief, thank you. I could picture her. I was like, ah, damn, what the hell is her name? But yeah, her podcasts have been curated. So I don't know. I have no idea who actually curated them or what their plan is. But I'm like, okay. That was a couple weeks ago. I ran across the article when she was still doing the pre-trial motions in Arizona. So, and we already know the outcome of the Arizona trial and the one in Idaho. Lori's guilty. Guilty. Huge coward. I didn't see anything that needed to be deleted. But anyways, how did Ariel Castro die in prison? The correct answer is B as in boy. He took his own dumbass self out of the picture. About a month after going to prison, he took himself out. So the harmless little self-promotion for my merchandise store. How did you do on tonight's trivia? This is completely optional to give yourself a letter grade on how many you got correct. A, B, C, D. But everyone is a rock star status in my book. This is completely optional. Some people like to keep track of how many they got right and how many they got wrong. But I would have known again for the second week in a row. 14 is what I would have known. 14. This is a sneak peek poll question that I post every Monday on the community tab here on YouTube. You do not have to answer the question now. It is completely optional to do so. But this week's poll question that'll be on the community tab tomorrow morning is for inmates convicted of homicide or other violent crimes, should the prison system offer more educational classes before release? Yes, no, maybe, depends on inmate, or D, no opinion on question. You do not have to answer it now. You can answer tomorrow on the community tab. If you are a subscriber, and I would hope that everyone here is a subscriber, will at least consider it. You should be notified or see it as you scroll through your YouTube tomorrow on community notices. That's a shelf all by itself where people post either links to videos, that they have upcoming that maybe you miss, or they tell you about content, issues or whatever they're having. But I post one every Monday before 10 a.m. Most of the time, I try to post them, around 6 to 8 a.m. my time. But that would be 1 o'clock on the East Coast, Eastern time zone. But should prisons offer more educational classes to inmates who have been convicted of homicide or violent crimes before release? And you may wonder how many inmates are actually, and what percentage of inmates who commit violent crimes are actually getting out of prison. The answer is 76%. 76% of all inmates who commit homicide or a violent crime. There is no, this is only for homicide, it's 50% or 40% or whatever. They totaled them both together, homicide and violent crime criminals who are paroled from prison. 76% eventually get out. They may be old. Most states require that the inmate do 85% of their total sentence. So if they got 25 years, they have to do 85% of that. And they can get reductions off of that for other things. Taking educational classes, taking a trade class, they get reductions. Excuse me. But should they offer more classes to them? Thank you, everyone who is here tonight to play trivia. The chat is still open. Chris Watts was taking a dispute resolution class. Ooh, I think it's a little too late for that, Chris. Chris has absolutely no way of getting out of prison. He had two avenues of, getting a reduction, I guess, or a new sentence. Those only avenues to an appeal were one, the court made a grievous error against him in tabulation of his sentence and the crime. That was avenue one of appeal. Or avenue two is that his lawyer gave him no counsel in his appeal or aid in his appeal and the process of actually accepting the plea. And even a first-year, law student would know that his attorney did everything and tried to talk him out of actually taking the plea and fighting it in court, but he didn't want to. Nor he actually went against what Mommy's wishes were too. Mommy didn't want him to take it. And in Dodge Correction Center, Christopher Watts will be there for the rest of his pathetic life. And every breath of oxygen he consumes is one more breath than he deserves to have. Let us remember Cece, Bella, and unborn baby Nico, and Shanann. They deserve to be remembered. Cement Shoes wouldn't trust Christopher Watts with a houseplant. Here we have felony jobs, websites where you can see who will hire them. It works quite well. There's lists that go around I've seen online. Companies that say that they hire felons, people with who have been convicted of a felony. A lot of the jobs that they offer are lower tier. They're not definitely not a lower wage. Yeah, I mean a higher wage. They're lower wage, positions, but a job's a job. Got to get your foot in somewhere. Yeah, he was definitely afraid of the death penalty. And that was the only concession he asked for, was that they take the death penalty off the table. What Christopher Watts didn't realize was the state had already gone and talked to the Ruscheks about it, and they had decided that they wanted to spare his life, and they didn't want the death penalty. But Chris didn't know that, nor did they have to tell him that. It doesn't violate his rights, if they come to him, they say, hey, here's a plea deal. And he says, take the death penalty out of there so I don't die. Well, that's on him for what he learned later on. He can never come back and argue against the evidence in the case, nothing. But yet, every year since his conviction, it pops up on my radar again, over and over again. Somebody's starting another GoFundMe account for him to get a new attorney to fight an appeal, to get a new trial. The dumbest, dumbest things that these people put in the actual description of these GoFundMe's and fundraisers. Where they're trying to sidestep a lot of like the GoFundMe because they keep on getting closed down. But people are donating to these things, and it's lining someone's pocket. I don't know who. A lot of times it's like the names are just like, they look like they're randomly generated, and it looks like Chat GPT put together the description for them. There's so much about the Watts case that I think we will never know. True. Good evening, Dirk. I don't have my glasses here. I think that says McGiggity. Is that like from Family Guy? McGiggity? Like that. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I'm please trust me. If that is your real last name, I am sorry, but that's the first thing that pops in my head is giggity giggity. Oh, it's Mr. Frosty. This is your new name now. Well, note to self, Mr. Frosty. How the hell are you doing, Mr. Frosty? Long time no see. Been keeping a stranger from us. I guess work has been taking up all your time. I hope you're doing well, Mr. Frosty. I like the new name, Mr. Giggity. My brother was a felon over a lie. He did steal a radar detector out of a car, but the guy said he stole the camcorder too, and it was over $400. A felony. Wow. I've known some people that have committed some really stupid crimes, especially like when they were like 17, but they got convicted when they were 18, so it became an adult charge. It definitely set them back a lot of years, but they eventually were able to move on from it. Excuse me. But I hope that your brother was able to move forward after that, Kitty Coo. I know it's tough. We definitely do not in America. We do not make it easy for people who have been convicted of crimes to survive or thrive in today's in society. Everything from job applications to housing to schooling. They're like, and there have been a lot of programs, a lot of Pell Grants that, depending upon your conviction, you can't even get a Pell Grant to go to school to better yourself. You can't live in Section 8, housing in some locations, or, rent controlled, apartments or complexes. You can't get, FUD housing funds. Say that 3 times fast. FUD housing funds. But if you're just a felon, and even if once they get all their rights restored, it's hard. We just stack it against them over and over again, for them to move forward in their lives. He was 17 too. Yeah. I had a friend who, he was going to school to become he wanted to become a school teacher. And one night, one event changed his life forever. He got arrested for public urination in an alley. And ladies and gentlemen, public urination in some places is considered a sex crime. Well, you can't become a school teacher if you have a sex crime on your book, or at least you shouldn't, I should say, because God knows that we hear about them all the time. Another teacher, boffing another student, but that pretty much ruined his, dream of being a school teacher for public urination. But that was because the cop just wanted to make an example out of him. It was like, we're like, yeah, give him a ticket. Nope. Well, they didn't want to give him a ticket. He cuffed him and stuffed him and went to court. And the cop showed up and didn't want the prosecutor to plead him down at all. They ended up pleading him down to unlawful littering, but it was enough to scare the crap out of him. That took almost a year off his life. Your brother wanted to vote, and we are big collectors of pew pew. So it got sucked to be him afterwards. He did good after that, though. Well, good. Your brother got a ticket for that? For public urination? I'll tell you the whole story about it. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of the story of what happened to my friend. So we're all in college, and there was 6 of us, and we were coming home from a frat house to our apartment, and it's about let's say 2.5 miles from Greek Row to the actual apartment complex that we lived in. And we had to go through downtown and then up a hill. And then once we walked up to the top of the hill, our apartment was on the opposite side of the hill there. And he had to go to the bathroom. So he ducked in behind an alley, behind a dumpster, and it just happened to be there was a cop who just happened to see him run away from the rest of the group into this alley and decided, I'm going to come around the opposite side, and then he saw him. Now, it wouldn't have been such a serious crime if nobody had seen him. You could have said, well, look, I find the aftermath. It automatically would have been a ticket, according to what the court said. I mean, this is well over 30 plus years ago that all this took place, but that's what I remembered. I mean, that's a Cliff Notes version of it. I know a guy got arrested for the same thing, and he got $300 fine, 6 months in AA. Wow. Yeah, they didn't make him. He didn't get any like jail time or anything out of it. I think he had to do community service. He had to go to a homeless shelter or someplace and feed homeless. Like he had to do like one day, like a whole shift, something like that. I think that's what or maybe it was the animal shelter. Could have been that too. Like I said, I don't remember that part of it so much. Just remember the events of that night. Should be the same state to state. One thing in one state can be a sex crime, felony in others, misdemeanors. Just crazy how that works, right? If I ever have kids, God willing, I will do all I can to keep them out of college. Dirk McDiggity, Mr. Frosty. There were six guys. We rented what was a 4-bedroom apartment The one guy, was permanently in the living room, and then there was a giant walk-in closet that technically you couldn't live in, but it was big enough that you could put a single bed and a nightstand, and like one of those rolling like clothing cart things. That's how big this was a walk-in closet in the apartment, but there were 6 of us who lived there. Of the 6, none of us graduated with the actual degrees that we were going for. 5 of them originally were going, well, try not to say his name. Okay, he was a an education major, and wanted to be get his certificate through K through 6, but he was also in engineering, so I guess he was double major. And the other, so then there's me. The other guys were all engineering students as well. And no one got a degree in engineering. And to say that these guys were more towards the nerdy side would be an understatement. Their weekends mostly consisted of playing the board game Axis and Allies, or something like that, until they all turned 21. That's when the shit hit the fan, and excuse my language. Once they were finally legally able to drink, they all went, they slipped off. But we all eventually got degrees, just not in the fields that we were originally planning for. There's some good things about college. You will teach them suburban survival skills, techniques from the early age. There you go. I mean, you can do both. Nothing wrong with trade schools, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely nothing. In America, we've been pushing kids for years. Well, probably a generation plus now. You want to get ahead in this world, you got to get a college degree. You got to get that job, and get that 6 figures. And ignoring the trades, and now look at the state of our country. We can't find enough qualified welders and carpenters, and people to do the jobs that that need to be filled. That's the truth. The next generation is coming up, and they're teaching them as much as they can, as fast as they can. But we're missing like an entire generation of gap there of people who are qualified. There are some. I'm not saying like the trades went away completely, but there are people who are just not enough that that came up through it, because we were pushing kids to go to college. Nothing wrong with trade school. God knows my friend, John. He makes 6 figures a year, and he's a welder. And you're good at it, there's money in it. Even if you're decent at it, there's money in it. Absolutely. There's a new serial killer in your area, and no one knows for sure. Ooh. Much information about zombies in the dark, if she responds. I know somebody who's actually trying to write to Chad Daybell, not Lori, but Chad has not returned any communication yet. Your granddaughter, 21, wants to be a welder. Go for it. That's all I've got to say. There's money in it, not just the welding, but electrical. Oh my God, my friend is a welder, and he travels all over the U.S. No, he does not work on the oil pipeline or anything to do with the oil industry. He works in a very specialized field, in welding. And there's just not anybody who is available. And what he makes per diem as a welder, I thought it was a joke until I saw his paycheck, and I was like, "You're effing kidding me! I definitely went in the wrong direction in life. I should have become a welder. But I have other friends that are, electricians, and they make damn good money being, electricians. I love it when girls want to get into male dominated trades. JDR's cousin is a welder. I think when it comes to trade schools and higher education like college, it has to be something that the child has an interest and an ability to do. If you absolutely sucked at doing school work, why do we push them towards college? There's other avenues to make a damn good living out there, in the trades. Carpenter, welder, there's money out there to be made. You just have to find somebody, find the field of interest that fits you. I mean, I'll give you an example. My friend Jason. Yeah, I mean, he was in a series of dead end jobs for years and years and years. Well into his 30s before he finally, hooked up with the union and got a job, went through the apprentice program and everything else, and now he owned, he went from barely able to pay his rent and put gas in his car and survive. He went from that to he never thought he was going to be a homeowner. Now he owns not one home but 2 homes. So I'm not saying that everyone's guaranteed success if they go into the trades. Just like if you go to school and you get a college degree in the humanities, that you're going to be successful at that as well. I'm not sure what somebody with a degree in the humanities does anymore, especially since that's like one of the first things that always gets cut everywhere. You're not a mechanic though? I play one on TV. I'm not a mechanic, Kitty Q, but I play one on TV. This I was a Random Adventure 2.0, the Sunday stream. How come no one ever likes to hear they look like a bartender from a Western? Don't know. Super chat cat. Good evening. Well, what do you think of the YouTube channel whose sole purpose is to bully other creators? Why does YouTube allow this? Very good question, Super Chat Cat, and I hope you had a great weekend. I am not familiar with that YouTube channel or creator, but I'll speak on just the idea of being around just to bully others. When it comes to YouTube and them enforcing their own policies, they're very, very slow at it. And there's a very fine line between bullying and then doxing and harassing. As long as they go all the way up to that line and they don't cross that line, harassment on and off of the platform, then they're perfectly able to do it. Now, the only reason why the person's still doing what they're doing is because people watch them and support the content. Either you're watching them with your eyes or people are paying them to do it. I've run into people like this in my past. Not only here, but me and my wife ran into them over on the Taco Podcast, who their entire sole purpose was just to belittle and harass us. And we report them, and it takes a couple of weeks, and YouTube will take it down. But we can make the comment private in the meantime, and all creators have that option. But other people see it, and they're like, well, you know what? Maybe this guy is a piece of shit. Maybe what the content they're talking about is wrong. And then that just drags it down, and people then like, oh, I don't want to watch this again. But That's the most I can say on that about anyone who has content like that. Why would you have hate in your heart? I mean, that doesn't make it a damn bit of sense to me. It's like, it's like George Carlin always said, why be a racist? There's more than enough reasons to hate people on an individual basis. The same thing with, hating on people. Why hate people? If you don't like their content, just leave. You don't have to watch it. The door is right there. You know how to get there because you're on the internet. Or a creator calling out bullshit from another creator. Yeah, I see that a lot, where they'll play the video in the background and then they're reacting to it. Now that is reaction videos. That's a completely different thing. You can harass people, and belittle them that way if you're reacting to what they say. I see that a lot. But I mean that I think that started out on on other platforms, and then it came over to YouTube, because I see an awful lot of that on Facebook Reels, but it's definitely prevalent here on YouTube as well, where people will clip other people's work, so it's playing a video out of context, and then they're like, this guy's just this white lady is a moron, they're ugly or whatever, and I've seen a lot of those. They are psychopaths and get off on harassing people. That's true. My mother and her father were both like that. Colleen, good evening, Colleen. How are you doing? I hope you've been doing well, Colleen. Glad you could stop in tonight for a little bit of the chat. If you want to watch the trivia, you can watch it and rewind anytime. It's always here. 300. I can't believe that. Think about that. 340 plus episodes of Trivia Night are on you. Well, not all of them are on YouTube. There's probably about 280 of them that are on YouTube, but they're underneath two different playlists, because I throughout the years I've changed the content, and I keep on meaning to move them over, but it's so hard to do, to move everything over. You can't combine one playlist with another, combine the two of them. You have to move each and every single one over to another one, and then you have to it's multiple pages. Then you have to click save, and then once it saves, and then saves it to that other playlist. Or you can add it to two different playlists and then go back and then take it off of another playlist. They don't make it easy, but that's why there's like two different playlists for the trivia nights. Did you see Jim Can't Swim returned? No, I did not. See that JCS is back. I did not know that, Mr. Frosty, Mr. Dirk McDiggity. What is Little Man up to these days? Super Chat Cat, growing like a damn weed. Every time I turn around, I feel like I'm never going to be able to keep clothes on him, because he likes to strip down to just his underwear as soon as he comes home every day. He's 8. But he keeps on growing. He just that I don't know what to do. I mean, we buy him clothes. I feel like I get caught up. I already got enough pants and shorts and shirts and socks and stuff for him, and then he has another growth spurt. And it's just like, no, stop, slow down, let me catch up. But let's see, yesterday, that's why I didn't have the Saturday morning live stream. We had the premiere video instead on the channel. Yesterday we were supposed to do Easter a week ago, but we had to put it off because some people were out of town. So yesterday, we went to a family gathering and we did Easter yesterday. Celebration. We did an Easter egg hunt for him. There was one for the children, and another one just for the adults. Then we had a massive dinner. I think we had like 27 people there total, which was really good to see people there enjoying their time. So it was good. He really enjoyed it. We were at my sister's house, and then there's just big, huge grass hill that he got to roll up and down, roll down over and over again. He really enjoyed that. Why Wonder? Good evening, Why Wonder? Welcome to tonight's trivia. But the trivia is over with, but you can watch it and rewind. I hope you had a great week and great weekend. All of the men in the family are over 6 feet tall. All of the men in your family are. Wow. That's amazing. Me and my oldest sister are the two tallest. It's funny because we're tall, and then the next one's shorter by about a head, head length, distance shorter, and then tall, and then shorter. Kind of weird in my family. But then my sister had all her kids are, well, they're giants. they're 6 foot or pretty close to it, girls and boys. And then my daughter's around, I'd say 5'11". My son, 8, and he's going to be a tall one. He's going to be tall. I mean, he already comes up to my wife like her armpit at 8. My wife's not like, short little lady. Just the men are tall. I'm ready to win. Says, why wonder? Well, I hope you do win. Looks like Wonder Woman. Why wonder Wonder Woman? My oldest is upset because my middle girl is fixing to be taller than her. No, just don't play have your the one child play the other one the song "Short People Have No Reason to Live." All right, I'm kind of cruel. Tell you the truth, I used to play that song from my youngest sister, who is about a head and a half shorter than me. We were just teasing each other. It was all in good humor. Probably wasn't in the beginning, but it became later on. I got a question. All my questions correct except for one. Well, good, JDR. Why did you have fun though? That's what's important. If you have any constructive criticism, I'd love to hear it from anyone and everyone. I can't make trivia night a better night than if I don't hear constructive criticism. And I aim to try to make it better subject matter, better questions that are not so hard down the forensic file side of it, or not so much down the rabbit hole that you've had to have studied the case. I try to find a place in between for the questions that that are more general knowledge questions on each and every one of the subject matters. I used to try to go a little bit of some of these questions and a little bit of some of these, and it seemed to upset more people than it was worth. I even at one point used to put the rankings for the trivia questions, because I used to draw them from 3 different trivia sites. Places that do pub trivia. I'm not feeling anything specific. I had a blast, Will, and I appreciate it. Well, thank you, Kitty Q. I'm glad that you had fun. So did JDR. Predictions for the week, anyone? On anything? I think the temperature is only going to be hotter. Up now. I might how a couple years ago, one person really, you know, I know I really, I always interested. It wasn't already not, I think half the people that it's always I, I always wondered what they do, and how they control the and how always interested. I, because my wife is working for master's degree. And I always get, you know, like, why did that person do that? Why would they do this? You know, and the question is always tumbling in my mind is, especially when I'm reading about serial killers. Okay, you killed one person. It was completely random, or maybe it was a trick. That didn't work out, and you violently took out your aggression. You killed them, or it was just somebody that pissed you off. All right, that's one murder. How do you go from one murder to killing a second? And then how do you go from the second murder to the third or to the 98th, like in the case of Samuel, Little? How do you go from 1 to 98? And does that person feel anything? I would love to know the answer to that. For so many serial killers and spree killers, how do you get to the point where you're being picked on at school, or you feel like your life is going nowhere, and you decide the outcome has to be that you take a weapon and shoot up your damn whole school? And how do you get to that point? How do you psychologically jump from here to there, or to way out over here? I don't understand it. And as long as I've never find the answers to that, I'm going to keep on going down this rabbit hole until I find the answers to it. Because we were saying shiz about YouTube. Willful, you're breaking up. I'm breaking up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, or in that case, exactly, Joe Tall Chief, about how do you decide that you're going to harm or kill your children? You meet a new man, and that man in your life says that your children are filled with a dark spirit and that they need to cross over to the other side of the veil so you can lead them along with the 144,000 from the book of Revelations. How do you get to that point? How does one get to the point where they kill their child or harm their child? I hope to never, ever be able to understand. I'm just like, you know, something I